Greetings, everybody, whether that be good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. And I got a little exercise for everybody today. We got right here, this is a pen. And no, this isn't Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not going to ask you to sell me this pen. What I would actually like for everybody to do is to, without saying a word, without making any sound, without moving your mouth, you can say the word pen in your head. For lack of better words, say the word pen in your head. So on the count of three, we're going to do that together. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now, if you said it, I have a question for you. And first of all, I do want to put out a little disclaimer. Sorry to anybody who is unable to do this. I know there are people out there who are unable to do this. But for those who are able to do this, my question to you is, what voice was that? An even better follow-up question is, how were you able to hear your voice? You just said the word pen without moving your mouth and without making a sound. And I suspect a lot of you are going to say, oh, I just heard it in my head, or it was my voice. And I remember a point in time where I said pen, and so I decided about that. Those are all true. However, no vibration of sound hit your vocal cords. No vibration of sound hit your vocal cords. No vibration of sound hit your eardrums. And you didn't move your mouth, and yet you said pen, and you heard yourself say pen. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I am doing this exercise is because, one, I would like to open your mind to some of the things that you're already capable of, but you don't necessarily know. And two, I'm also introducing our first topic, which is an exploration of the mind. You see, an exploration of the mind encompasses asking yourself these questions, asking yourself things that you don't necessarily know of. And while I'll get into that a little bit later, I got something for the visual learners out there. So, if I were to ask you to close your eyes and think about your most recent birthday party, I guarantee that you could probably see it. If you remember it. I mean, I know a few of us turned 21, but that's besides the point. If I were to ask you to close your eyes, you can actually see your past. To take this a step further, if I were to ask you to close your eyes and visualize what your next birthday party is going to be, say all of your family meets up together at WAG, hopefully not, and you all have a little bit of a party together. But this will take place in the future. That's never happened before. That hasn't happened, and yet you were able to visualize that and you were able to see it with nothing more than just your eyelids. Right here we have an impossible task that you're able to accomplish. The future hasn't happened yet, but you can see it clearly. So that gets into, when we go into the workplace, we do come across tasks similar to this, that we feel like we can't do, that are hard, that are impossible. But once you get a solid understanding of what you're capable of, once you see that you can visualize yourself accomplishing the task, and now you can work towards it, that leads into our next topic, which is personal adequacy. What is personal adequacy? Well, the Webster Dictionary would define personal adequacy as the belief that you are sufficient enough for the task at hand. And we are all college students. We've been through a lot of tasks where we wish that we were sufficient enough to accomplish, where we wish that we had the talents or the capabilities to accomplish these tasks. And the way to solve this, we look at what a sociologist named Clifford Corson, how he defines personal adequacy. He defines personal adequacy as an exploration of how you perceive yourself and the world around you. So with this change in definition, how does this change your view on the task at hand? Instead of looking at things as, I wish I was good enough to accomplish this, is now, what do I have within my mind already that can help me accomplish this? We take a look at former academic employer at Stanford named Jeffrey Cohen. He says that people have a basic need to maintain an integrity of self and a global sense of personal adequacy, which is the reason why I had you do this exercise. I had you do this exercise so you can understand what you already have, as I had mentioned before. Now, Cohen also expresses that events that threaten self-integrity arouse stress that can hamper performance and growth. We've all been there. Those all-nighters at the library, studying for countless hours, doing work, and we don't necessarily, because we're stressed out, we don't do what we can to the best of our abilities. However, Cohen also mentions that an intervention known as self-affirmation can curb negative outcomes. And that leads into our third and final topic, self-affirmation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into that little voice in our head that said pin, and what we're going to do is take that same voice and say, I'm going to accomplish every single goal that I set out. I'm going to overcome every obstacle that I come across. Once we take that little voice that said pin, we can now set not just the voice, but once we take our eyes or whatever, that we're able to see our future and able to see our past, we're going to visualize ourselves. This is for the visual learners out there. Visualize ourselves overcoming these obstacles. Visualize ourselves becoming what we wish to become. And now you can work towards it. Now you have a realistic goal. It may seem unrealistic, but you were able to do this in your mind. And within your mind, you're able to project images that you view as realistic. So you have a realistic goal that you can work towards now. With self-affirmation, you can now accomplish that. Once you open your mind to the possibilities, countless doors open. Once you're able to identify that little voice in your head, there's so many different obstacles and negativities that will fade from the workplace. And all of that is a result of self-affirmation. Self-affirmation is a result of personal adequacy. Personal adequacy is a result of exploring your mind. And exploring your mind begins with that little voice in your head that said pin. Thank you, stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.